What's going on, everybody? It's Brody Tenant with Tenant Commercial Group. So we get asked this question a lot all the time is, what's the difference between residential sales and commercial sales? Today we're going to touch on that topic a little bit and kind of clear up some of those questions for you. So like we said, we get asked all the time from residential realtors and some other people in the industry of just what's the difference between residential sales and commercial sales. And there's just a lot of different, it's hard to sum up into one quick answer because there's a lot of differences between both of the different types of transactions. But the first one is just kind of get understanding like the reason why somebody's buying commercial real estate versus residential. Residential, somebody's going to be buying their home or a place to live. With commercial, especially investment grade commercial properties, you're buying a property that's going to give you a higher return on your money. So there's just two different trains of thought, and the clientele you're working with is going to be completely different as well. So residential realtors, obviously, they know that they have a large database of a lot of different people that are buying and selling homes. And a lot of times they don't have much experience between selling real estate. I mean, maybe they sold a house one or two times in their life, but in the commercial world, you're dealing with a smaller group of people, and usually they do majority of your business, but these guys are very seasoned. They do multiple deals, and in their lifetime, they may have done 15, 20, 100 different commercial transactions in their life. So these people are seasoned, and they're people that are looking for investments to get a better return on what they currently have or to expand their portfolio. So the mindset and the clientele is just completely different between residential and commercial. So you really have to gear up to understand how their brain works and what makes a good deal for them, which you can go back into our previous videos and see kind of what they look for in underwriting and how that underwriting process really works. So typically when we're doing deals between residential and commercial, I mean, there's different places that you list them, but in residential, it's typically just put it on the MLS, and it goes out to all the realtors, and then it also syndicates to Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all of those different platforms that anybody can see. On the commercial side, there's a couple different places you can put them. A lot of the deals are done through word of mouth, but you can put them on CoStar, which syndicates to all the different brokers out there who pay for a CoStar account. You can also put it on LoopNet, basically pay for advertising on LoopNet or Crexi, where you're paying an additional fee to put it out directly to consumers. But we would say that with our investors, majority of our deals that we're doing a good deal for them is off market. So things that we go out and we actually hunt down the inventory. We go find what their needs are, do a needs analysis, get an understanding of what type of deals they're looking for, what type of size, and what fits their portfolio. And we try to go find that inventory somewhere off market through other avenues other than things that are already listed, because it does get pretty competitive, and it squeezes the margins on a lot of those deals. So another thing that's pretty different is the actual contracts itself. So with residential real estate, your local association of realtors typically has your contracts already templated out, and all you have to do is fill in names, numbers, dates, things of that nature, which protects you on the one hand, and is great. But for commercial, since there's so many different things that you can kind of put into the contract, so many different kind of revolving doors, I guess you could say, in regards to tenants, leases, things like that, that every one of our contracts is done through an attorney, and a purchase agreement is drawn up for each individual contract or for each individual deal. Before we even get to that stage where we start spending money on attorneys with our investors, we typically draw up an LOI. So basically the LOIs can go over all of the nuts and bolts, which would be the purchase price, the amount of the study period, the down payment, the type of due diligence they're doing, the financing, and all the pretty standard stuff. But then once that is agreed upon by both parties, then that goes to a contract that is then reviewed by both parties' attorneys and redlined, and adjustments are made until both parties agree. So once you have your contract period, or once your contract is agreed upon, then you we go to the actual transaction, the due diligence period. So in residential, that's typically 30 days, and that gives you enough time to do your inspections, ask for any repairs, get your financing approvals, and get your appraisal done. Basically, pretty standard stuff. So, but during commercial due diligence period, that can range to mean 1,000 different things. So the due diligence period can be anywhere from 30 days up to 12, 18 months, depending on the type of deal it is, which amount of developments and approvals they'll need in regards to building a building. So for underwriting and commercial, there's a lot of different things we'll need to get sorted out during that due diligence period. And that's going to be basically things like underwriting market rents, underwriting the leases, look at zoning, permitting, access with the transportation, with Maryland Highway and Transportation, to see what type of access they can get if they're looking to get different traffic patterns. And obviously they'll do inspections, and they'll get their financing in order, and also order an appraisal as well, which is a much lengthier process than a residential appraisal. They're doing all the research of getting market rents, getting market sales comps, price per square foot, type of improvements, all of the previous improvements to the building. It's a very in-depth process for a commercial appraisal. So that's why the actual due diligence can be much longer. But there's a ton that goes in during the due diligence period, and you want to make sure that you're advising your clients and making sure that they're getting all of their question marks and their diligence done during that period. And also the financing is just way different. And so residential, the financing is going to be based upon the actual buyer itself. It's going to be approved of the financing. So they're going to look at three major things. It's going to be your credit score, your amount of down payment, and your debt to income ratio. Nuts and bolts. If those three things pass, the bank's underwriting, then you should be good to go. On the commercial side, they're going to be looking at a lot of different things, and they're basically basing their financing off of the production of the property. So once it's approved, basically they run it through the property, see if the property is cash flowing, see if it's making money, and then they'll underwrite the borrower as well. So they're going to look at things like, they're going to review all the leases just like we did during our underwriting. They're going to review market rents, make sure that if the tenants leave, that when they release it, that it's not going to be much lower rent in that case. They're going to look at all the expenses and just actually track the production of income from that property, and make sure that the property can pay all the expenses and pay all of the debt service with the bank, as well as have a margin for reserves as well. So that way, if something hits the fan, you're not in a position where you can barely pay the debt service. They're also going to review your portfolio and the rest of your financials as well. So there's a lengthy underwriting for the financing process as well, but it's more based upon the asset than it is the actual the person, like it is in residential real estate. And lastly, you really want to make sure that your commission is guaranteed, because in residential, it's great because the Association of Realtors, again, those contracts they give you and the buyer rep agreements, they're great because they do guarantee your commission. A lot of times the commercial, you want to make sure that you have a commission agreement in place, or some sort of agreement or something in the actual contract of sale stating your commission, because there's nobody really protecting you on your end. They call it the wild, wild west for a reason. So they want to make sure that you are protected and you're spending your time wisely, and that if you're working on something, you're going to get paid on it. So that's just kind of the nuts and bolts. There's 1,000 other things in regards to finding your clientele and your type of people that you're going after, and how do you create those relationships. There's a bunch of other things that you can get into in regards to commercial real estate, but mainly those I see in commercial versus residential real estate. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us. We are currently actively hiring other brokers as well. So if you'd like any sort of mentorship in regards to getting into commercial real estate, we'd love to talk to you. But again, that's all we got. It's another episode of TCG TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, again, reach out to us. All right. Have a good day.